What is up, hooligans? Happy freedom. Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Hooligans, where we try to make the news suck a little less. I appreciate all of you guys being here. If you have a like button, make sure you hit it. More likes, more hooligans. So we're just waiting for KJP to come staggering out on stage. Just another day. We'll be starting off with KJP face. And then we will have a video titled Kari Lake officially announces candidacy for Arizona Senate race. See how Kari Lake does for Senate. I think she'd be good for it. Then we have a video titled Detroit's Big Three increases layoffs, begin factory pauses amid UAW strike. Then we have a video titled House Republicans Jordan and Scalise, I don't know what his name is. Somebody I've never heard of. Battle for Speaker's gavel, and considering I don't even know who the other guy is. You already know. I kind of want Jordan to be the speaker. Trump or Jordan, that's what we're going for. And then we'll be wrapping things up with a video titled The Bar is So Low for Our Old Man in the Oval Office. I'm not going to call him the P word. He's just keeping the seat warm. It's just keeping the seat warm. So I'm going to flip through the chat really quick, make sure everybody is doing good, and then we're going to probably hurry up and wait for KJP, but if she takes too long, we'll just start this first video. She's already 22 minutes late. We would have started, but I was waiting for her. I swear. What's up, everyone, over on jeffmaclive.com. Happy freedom, you hooligans. Let's see. Is Odyssey running? Or not Odyssey, Rumble. I know Odyssey's not running. I know that's not running. What's up, everyone over on Rumble? Happy freedom, you hooligans. What's up, Snooks? What's up, Pumpkin? You girls were first. What's up, Christy Star? What's up, Jeffro? What's up, Astral Hammer? Astral Hammer, I will write you back. I know you wrote me, but I am just been overwhelmed. Let's see. What's up, Brujo? What's up, Sly Dog? What's up, Breezy? What's up, Christy Star, if I didn't catch you already? What's up, Matthew? What's up, Crystals? Appreciate you guys being here. Matthew, 27 minutes late. I want a job. Yeah. At the White House, you can just totally suck at your job and still be good to go. That's how they get down. Oh, let's see. What's up, everyone over on D Live? Happy freedom, you hooligans. Let's see. Everything's looking good here on Kick. What's up, everyone over on Kick? What's up, DeRosa? What's up, Tom Tom? What's up, Cat's Eye? Happy freedom. It's funny to sit here and flip the chapstick and then have you guys posting the emojis in the chat. It's awesome. It's awesome. What's up, Cash Flow? Happy freedom. What's up, everyone over on Twitch? What's up, Soul For Real? You were first over on Twitch. What's up, Pester's Place? What's up, Grey Wolf? Happy freedom, you hooligans. And what's up, everyone over on GoofTube? What's up, T Law? What's up, Sly Dog? What's up, Dazen? What's up, Paul? What's up, Gregory? What's up, Impreza? Happy freedom. What's up, Jordan? What's up, Newton? It's been a while. Appreciate you being here, Newton. Yeah, I did hit a deer. I hit it hard at 75 miles an hour. Luckily, no one but the deer died. And my Subaru died, but I'm trying to find a new one. I'm working on it. I'm trying to find a new one. I slept 3.5 hours because the rest of the time I got to be searching for Subarus. It's all right, though. I'm hoping sometime between now and Sunday, I'm hoping I will have a new car. That's the goal. Finally get some people to talk back to me. I might, in a good way, not the way your kids talk back to you, but in a good way, having some people negotiate some offers. I just got to find some rides, and I think we'll be good to go. What's up, Robert? Happy freedom. Let's see. What's up, Rip Curl? What's up, JB? Happy freedom. What's up, Snowflakes Nightmare? Let's see. Snowflakes Nightmare. I'm shocked at how many people were totally against the war until this happened. Now they're beating war drums for the war pigs. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would be wrong if I just came out and said I don't care what really happens outside of North America. But I'd like to see things get better here. I'd like to see people care about what happens here a lot more than what happens over there, overseas. I'm telling you, I'm almost convinced that those places don't even exist. I've never seen it. It's just us and the government lying to us. Those countries may not even actually exist. We don't know. It might not even be real. I'm worried about what's happening here, not over there. And that's why we haven't been covering any of the war stuff. I don't know. Emo B, happy freedom. What's up with Dearborn, Michigan? That is the, I believe, Muslim capital of America. Dearborn has more Muslim people than anywhere else in the country. And when ISIS was marching on the news every day, supposedly recruiting 20-year-old college kids from America to go out into the desert and cut heads off of Christians or something. I don't know. I can't remember. Dearborn, I guess, was having ISIS parades, and nobody was doing anything about it. As far as I know, that stuff, they're still there. I don't think there's ISIS parades anymore, but, you know, they're there doing things and whatnot. What's up, Tanya? Happy freedom. Jason, it's coming to New York City. 10,000 sleeper cells. Just the beginning. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it's like a race. I can't figure out who's going to get hit first. Is it going to be Chicago or is it going to be New York? Because they have like huge populations of border crossers just sleeping all over the sidewalks and stuff. So I don't know. I feel like it's going to be one or the other. It'll be New York or Chicago that kicks this off. I mean, maybe they'll throw us a curveball. Maybe it'll be Oregon or like Cali or something like that. Maybe it'll kick off at Texas. I don't know. But I really think it's going to be Chicago or New York. They're all primed up and ready to go. What's up, Hair Juicer? What's up, Annette? Happy freedom, you hooligans. I love our chat over here on the website. It is the coolest chat ever. I love that. We got the emojis, we got the GIFs and the memes and all that stuff. Let's see, Days End. Let me buy your motor transmission harness and ECU to swap into my 91 Toyota Helix Lowrider. Let's see, I'll pay the fee to buy back the insurance and some extra cash. Days in, you can buy it if you want to. I mean, it's just sitting there right now. You could get the whole car for like, I don't know, $1,500, $1,000 or something. It's worth like $2,000 or $3,000, even with the whole front end blown off of it. But right now it's sitting there, and I cannot find an 09. I cannot find an 09. So I don't think I'm going to be able to use it as a parts car. I live in a tiny apartment, so I can't sit here and pull parts out and sell it on eBay or anything like that. I can't do any of that stuff. It's kind of an all or nothing. So if you want it, you can absolutely come get it, or however that needs to happen, because otherwise I'm going to end up having to scrap it and just get my $200 off of it, and I don't know, because I don't know what else to do. I'm running out of options here. The only reason I haven't scrapped it yet is because there's that hope that I'll find another 09 Outback and I can use that whole car for spare parts, but I can't find one. I can't find one in Michigan, at least. There's like 6 in Wisconsin. There's 2 in Indiana. There's 3 in Ohio. They're all in good condition. They all are right in my price range, but they are all 5, 6, 7, 8 hours away from me. So if you would like parts off that Subaru, you are more than welcome to send me an email. We'll work something out. Let's see. Astral Hammer, we could. We could. The last thing we want, though, is we don't want the news referring to hooligans as sleeper cells. We don't want that. Yep. Well, KJP is taking her merry little time, so we might have to just kick off this first video here. She's 30 minutes late. It's hard to tell. Let me see if the White House has changed the schedule at all. And if not, which it doesn't look like. Hold on. Let me look for some news channels and see if they're running the live, because they won't turn theirs on until they get the 2-minute warning. And if they're not live, we're just gonna skip ahead to a video while we wait for her. It's kind of hard to say. This is inside the press room. Ka-chow. As you can see, there's a whole lot of nobody in there. I mean, it doesn't take very long for them to fill up them 2 front rows, but the fact that they're not scurrying in there right now tells me that we could probably make it through this 3-minute video here. So we're going to start off with this first video. It's titled Kari Lake officially announces candidacy for Arizona Senate race. I hate that candidacy word. I can't say. It's like cinnamon. It's like that word. It sucks. It sucks, but it's useful. Let's see. Could probably work this out. Well, we'll see how it goes. I don't know. It's gonna be a tricky one, but that's all right. We'll get it figured out. All right, hooligans. Before we get started, I want to remind you: go get you a free the Orange Eagle T-shirt, coffee mug, tank tops, hoodies, all that stuff. Go check it out. We got this design, and we have the Screaming Goat. Also comes in all the different variety of items. We have tons of designs. Right now I got the Happy Freedom shirt. You can go get one of those. I will post the merch store link in the chat while you're washing. I've heard of washing some laundry, but I ain't never washed Kari Lake. I've never done that. I mean, you know, on the bucket list, I suppose. Let's get this started, hooligans.
A lot of people have been saying, well, what's next for you, Kari? What is next? Well, let me tell you, this mama bear has a whole lot of fight left in her. I got a lot of fight left in me. And I'm really tired of watching our politicians retreat from every single important battle. They're cowards. That's how we got into the mess we're in right now, because they have surrendered far too many hills. We are on the final hill right now. And I'm not surrendering this hill. No. I am not going to retreat. I'm going to stand on top of this hill with every single one of you. And I know you're by my side as I formally announce my candidacy for the United States Senate. Oh my goodness. I love you. I love you guys because you came out on a Tuesday night. And you stand here in the heat because you love this state just as much as I do. Our nation, our children's future is on the verge of collapse. We're not in tenuous times, we're in dangerous times. And while it would be real fun to go back to my past life where things were easy and I would plan vacations with my family and we would do fun stuff, we've got 1 year to save this country. And we got to go in a different direction, people. We got to go away from Joe Biden. It's not working out. It's not working out. And I will tell you what, I will stop the push toward communism, and I will be the most pro-America senator in the entire country.
He's on fire!
And the only way to fix our problems is with America First policies. Yep. President Trump showed us how to do it. Remember 4 years ago, we had $2 a gallon gas. The border was secure, inflation was non-existent, the economy worked for every American. We were thriving, and then Joe Biden stumbles into the White House.
Kari Lake. Hold on. Good Lord. They really don't want me to stop that video. Oh, it's about game time. Looks like we got Jackie today. If they're all racing into the press room, then it must mean that they're getting ready to get started here. Either way, I like Kari Lake. She always sounds presidential to me. Sounds good. And she was fighting against the machine with what happened in Arizona. I think she lost both of her hearings, but you know, that's what happens. You're fighting such a corrupt government. You're gonna have to lose a little. That's how it goes, because it's more about raising awareness. You start waking normies up, You won't lose that next time. That's the goal. You gotta wake up all the normies. Get that awareness up there. Oh, what do you guys think she'll be wearing today? 10 Man. I don't know. I haven't seen my Subaru since I kissed a deer with it. I kissed a deer and I didn't like it. Hopefully today I can go to the bank and go see my car. I think my Subaru frame is bent, but I can't tell. I see parts online that look like they would bolt on as a new front end, but every time I call the mechanic, they tell me it would start at $5,000 to fix that car. At this point, I'm almost paying $5,000 to get a new wreck, buy a new heap. So I don't know. Hopefully I can talk to the mechanic guy today and get some real answers, because it's just been phone tag for, I think, a week now. I think it's been a week since I hit the deer. I remember going outside. I remember those days. Now I just sit here and look for Subarus. That's all I got. Let's see. I heard you, sir. Oh, here we go.
I just want to take a moment to address the horrifying reports that continue to come out of Israel. I know many of us in the room and at home are moms and dads, and regardless, we're all humans. We have heard stories of parents doing their best to shield their babies from danger. These reports are devastating. We are hearing the reports of entire families, innocents, who were killed in the safety of their homes. We know that so far, 22 Americans lost their lives and 17 remain unaccounted for. We know that these numbers are likely to increase in the days ahead. As the President said this afternoon, this attack has brought to the surface painful memories and the scars left by millennia of anti-Semitism and genocide of the Jewish people. And so later this afternoon, the President will stop by a roundtable with Jewish community leaders, along with the Second Gentleman, Douglas Emhoff, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, Homeland Security Advisor Dr. Liz Sherwood Randall, Domestic Policy Advisor Nir Tandon, and Steve Benjamin, Senior Advisor to the President for Public Engagement. This roundtable discussion will focus on the Biden-Harris administration's unwavering support for Israel following the Hamas terrorist attacks and the implementation of President Biden's national strategy to counter anti-Semitism, which was released in May. Today and every day, we are here to reaffirm the United States' will to continue to have Israel's back. And with that, Admiral John Kirby is here from the National Security Council to take any of your questions on the situation in Israel. Okay, John. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Sadly, the numbers of
God, I can't stand Captain Hot Dog Fingers. He drives me nuts.
climbed, and we have a little bit better sense today of how many more Americans are unaccounted for, or missing. We know that a number of those Americans are being held hostage right now by Hamas. I think we all need to steel ourselves for the very distinct possibility that these numbers will keep increasing, and that we may, in fact, find out that more Americans are part of the hostage pool. So, as Karine said, our message to all these families affected is that we're with you, we're grieving with you, we're sorrowful with you, we're worrying with you, and we're going to do everything we can, particularly for those who don't know where a loved one is, to find out where they are, and to get them home with you where they belong. And that includes, of course, being willing to assist in advice or counsel when it comes to hostage recovery efforts. Now, of course, the Israelis have a very robust hostage recovery capability of their own. Sadly, they have been forced to perfect that particular kind of capability, but we also have a lot of know-how too, and we're offering to share that with the Israeli Defense Forces. At the same time, we're sharing additional defense-related support. I think you saw that the Israeli military announced today, with some imagery, the first tranche of U.S. military assistance arriving in Israel. That will continue. We also as I think the president alluded to yesterday, were able to replenish some of their Iron Dome interceptor missiles. These were missiles that we already had in stock in Israel. We simply just transferred ownership over to the Israeli Defense Forces. So again, more aid, more assistance will be coming in coming days. As you also know, the aircraft carrier USS Gerald R. Ford and her strike group are now in the Eastern Mediterranean. They arrived yesterday. They are there for deterrence purposes, to make it clear to any would-be actor, organization, group, terrorist network, nation state, anybody who thinks that with hostile intent towards Israel, that this is the time to widen and expand the conflict, that we will take our national security interests seriously. I would also note that the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower aircraft carrier and her strike group will be departing on a pre-scheduled, long-scheduled deployment to the European Command Area of Responsibility. They'll start that deployment in the coming week or so. They will be going initially across the Atlantic and into the Mediterranean, where they will be available if needed. Now, no decisions have been made. I've seen some press reporting out there that we've already made some kind of final decision that a second carrier is going to be placed in the Eastern Med. No operational decisions like that have been made, but she will be heading in that direction. Her ships will be with her, and she certainly will be an available asset if needed. Bottom line is, as I said, we're sending a loud and clear message. The United States is ready to take action should any actor hostile to Israel consider trying to escalate or widen this war. And I think Jake said that pretty well yesterday. We're also going to continue to talk to our Israeli partners about their needs to ensure, again, that they have what they require to defend their country and their people. And that's just not going to stop. In fact, it's almost an hourly conversation that we're having with our counterparts. Now, I know many of you have been asking about or expressing some interest in the idea of safe passage in Gaza for civilians. Let me just say right up front, we're actively discussing this with our Israeli and our Egyptian counterparts. We support safe passage for civilians. The civilians are not to blame for what Hamas has done. They didn't do anything wrong, and we continue to support safe passage. I don't have an announcement to make today. I can't tell you a specific route or a corridor. I just want to make it clear that we are actively working on this with our Egyptian and our Israeli counterparts. Civilians are protected under the laws of armed conflict, and they should be given every opportunity to avoid the fighting. Now, if I could switch to Ukraine just quickly. Today, the Secretary of Defense announced at the Ukraine Defense Contact Group meeting over in Europe that the United States is announcing a new aid package, which includes air defense ammunition for U.S.-provided artillery and HIMARS, counter UAS equipment, unmanned aerial systems, to help Ukraine protect their people against Russian and Iranian drone strikes. We're also announcing additional anti-armor capabilities and more than 16 million rounds of small arms and ammunition. As the Ukrainians continue to wage a very tough counteroffensive, and as winter now fast approaches, we believe it is absolutely imperative. You heard me say before, time is not our friend, that we continue to do everything we can to help Ukraine succeed on the battlefield and claw back some more of their own territory from Russian units on the ground there. This military aid package that we're announcing today is another important signal of our continued commitment to supporting the Ukrainian people, and it utilizes funding authorities that Congress authorized for Ukraine during a prior fiscal year under the Presidential Drawdown Authority. We're obviously going to continue to provide Ukraine with the weapons and equipment they need, but it is absolutely critical that Congress keep its commitment to the people of Ukraine by providing additional funding. We are in active conversations with members of Congress about additional funding for Ukraine and for Israel. And it's critical, again, that we believe Congress sends a clear message to Putin, sends a clear message to the Israeli people that the United States continues to have their back. And with that, we can take some questions.
I'll pick first, John. Ask just a little bit of clarification on the 22 Americans who unfortunately been killed. Were all those Americans believed to be killed by Hamas? Were all of them killed in Israeli territory? Or do you know of how many Americans have been killed inside Gaza?
I'm afraid I don't. I mean, we know the number is accurate as of right now, but this individual circumstances are not exactly clear.
Yeah, this group of 22, it was in Israel, but
I don't have the details on every single one. You could certainly consult the State Department. They might have a little bit higher touch because they are in touch, or I know they're trying to be in touch with all the families, but we don't have that information.
If I can just quickly, all signs suggest that Israel will begin possible ground invasion relatively soon. I know you talked about safe passage, but has the U.S. done anything to dissuade Israel from moving ahead with the ground offensive? And if it does move ahead, has the president or administration officials directly asked Israel to show restraint in how it goes about such an operation?
We're going to let the Israelis talk about their military operations, particularly in the future tense.
Silver Wolf, I got your email.
Operations in the future tense. So I don't want to get ahead of where things are, and I certainly am not going to talk about Israeli military planning. So I'll let them take that. You heard the president talk about this a little bit yesterday. This idea of you're asking about restraint. I mean, nobody wants to see any more innocent life lost. None. Nobody. No matter who you are. If you're an innocent civilian, you didn't cause this. You didn't ask for this, and you shouldn't be having to fear for your life. Nobody wants to see that happen. And I think it's important to remind that, especially on the Palestinian side, Hamas is directly endangering their lives, headquartering themselves in hospitals and schools, residential buildings, using the Palestinian people as human shields. They didn't ask for that either. And Hamas doesn't speak for the majority of the Palestinian people or their aspirations for peace and security. I think that's an important place to start this conversation. Unlike the United States, unlike Israel, as the president said yesterday, who have respect for the rule of law and the law of armed conflict and respect for human life. Hamas has none at all. So again, we'll let the Israelis speak for their military operations. Our focus squarely right now in these still early hours, and they are early hours, is to make sure that the Israelis have what they need.
I just want to clarify the numbers here. I think, Corinne, you just said that 17 Americans remain missing. Is that the latest number? I think yesterday you had said 20. I just want to make sure we're operating off of the same thing.
There is 17 that are missing and 22 that are dead.
And is there anything you can share with us about anything you know about the condition of the hostages? And also, has there been any kind of communication with Hamas, either directly or with our allies or partners, about securing their release? Is there any kind of receptiveness that they've shown even to talking about this issue?
So let me take the second one first. Obviously, we're in discussions not only with the Israelis about what hostage recovery could look like, but with other allies and partners in the region. And there are some countries like Qatar that have open lines of communication with Hamas. So of course we're casting the net wide, as you would expect we would. We want to get these all the hostages back with their families, particularly the American hostages, no question about that. Now where they are and in what condition, no.
I don't know why he wears that tie. I like all those colors, but that tie is so ugly.
These early hours, but we don't know. We don't know where they are. We don't know.
It just really makes him look like a used car salesman.
We don't know if they're being moved and with what frequency and to what locations. All of those questions we're working hard to answer.
I understand you're casting a wide net, but has any communication actually been made with Hamas?
I'm just going to leave the answer the way I gave it to you. I think just like in any other case when we're talking about getting Americans home overseas that have been held hostage or wrongfully detained, the less you say out there publicly, the better.
Good.
Thank you. And two on this region and one on another in this hemisphere that I know some outlets in this room have questions about. First, on the humanitarian corridor, is it accurate that the Egyptians have rejected calls to allow for one?
I think you'd have to talk to the Egyptian authorities on that.
Talks continue, or
We believe that safe passage is important, and we want to see a safe passage corridor opened up. We also believe it's important that humanitarian assistance have a way to continue to get to the Palestinian people. And as Jake mentioned yesterday, we're in active discussions with the Israelis and with the Egyptians about that.
there's, of course, this ongoing intelligence assessment and now political debate over Iran, what it knew, what it may have done to support Hamas in all of this. Even if there's no direct evidence linking Iran to this specific attack right now, does the U.S. believe Iran needs to pay some kind of a price or be some kind of retribution for having supported Hamas all along up to this point?
I mean, the question almost, and I'm not picking on you, Ed, but it implies that that we're just now waking up to the fact that they've been supporting Hamas and Hezbollah and other terrorist networks. Hamas is one of the most highly sanctioned terrorist networks on the planet, largely because of what we've been doing here in the United States to target them. And Iran, my goodness, just since the beginning of this administration, we have sanctioned some 400 plus entities with more than 40 different sets of sanction regimes, 30 of those just this past year alone. We've increased our military presence in the Gulf region because of their attacks on maritime shipping. We have added additional sanctions because of their support to Russia and the fact that they're still providing drones and technology to Mr. Putin so he can kill innocent Ukrainians. And now we've added our military capability. We've added to it from a naval perspective in the Eastern Med. So nobody has turned a blind eye to Iranian destabilizing behavior. Now, I think what you're trying to get at is this particular set of attacks. What Jake said yesterday still holds. We obviously recognize that there's broad complicity here by the Iranians. I mean, because of the longstanding support to Hamas. Hamas wouldn't have been able to function at all had it not been for propping up by the Iranian regime. But we haven't seen any specific evidence that tells us they were witting, involved in the planning, or involved in the resourcing and the training that went into this very complex set of attacks over the weekend.
There's one other, I mentioned an issue here in this hemisphere that there are outlets in this room I know curious about. There have been several days now of protests in Guatemala that have essentially locked down parts of the country amid the ongoing protracted, difficult presidential transition. Just curious if you can give us a sense of how the U.S. is monitoring that and whether it has any message for protesters who continue to hold up some parts of society that have blocked gasoline and food shipments to parts of the country.
We certainly aren't going to involve ourselves in internal Guatemalan politics. We obviously believe in free and fair elections. We believe in democratic voices. And we certainly believe in the right of peaceful protest. Whatever they want to do, as long as they do it peacefully and in a way.
That's bold. That is bold.
Thank you. John, you mentioned wanting to avoid actors in the region taking advantage of this. Can you give us a sense of who you think might take advantage of this that you're worried about?
I think there's a, unfortunately, long list of actors in the region that are hostile to Israel. Hezbollah is one of them. And you know, we've been watching with concern some of the rocket attacks that have come across the northern border of Israel from Lebanon, which obviously were coming from Hezbollah. So we're clearly concerned about that.
Concerned about Iran as well?
We're always concerned about Iran. And Iran's hostility to Israel doesn't need any reaffirmation by us. It's out there plain to see. So yeah, of course we're concerned about Iran.
You mentioned the humanitarian corridor, but more just staying on the topic of the humanitarian issue. What can be done, or what is the U.S. doing to prevent a humanitarian crisis in Gaza? The situation now about power, water, food.
Yeah, as I said, we believe that humanitarian assistance is important for the Palestinian people that live in Gaza, and we are going to continue to pursue options to make sure that they get that humanitarian assistance.
Yeah, so is the U.S. in conversation with the Palestinian Authority or the Palestinian community here in the U.S.?
We have been routinely in communication with the Palestinian Authority. There's not meetings or discussions, in recent hours that I can speak to, but we have long maintained an open line of communication with them.
How about, does the U.S. also condemn perhaps potential war crimes Israelis are committing in Gaza, against Gaza?
Well, our focus right now is making sure that Israel has what it needs to defend itself against these attacks.
If I could ask you first just about something that you referred to, which is the reported incursion into northern Israel. There have been reports from the IDF. Do you have any new information to share on that? There were reports of paragliders initially. Any other additional information about that?
I've seen the reports. We've taken a quick look at them. We are not in a position to corroborate the validity of them. What I talked about with Jeff was rocket attacks that we know have occurred in recent days.
Then if I can, I just want to ask you separately about these hostages right now. Presumably 22 dead, at least 17 held hostage. Not only the number of dead could rise.
17 that we know are missing.
Excuse me.
And that number will
that
fluctuate.
Number could rise.
It could rise, it could go down. I mean, as people maybe they're found safe and sound. So
Understood.
it's 17 today.
Understood. So about those who remain hostages right now, Has the president ruled out sending any American forces of any kind into Gaza at any time to help secure their release, if necessary, to get them out safely?
We haven't made any policy options or operational decisions with respect to hostage recovery at this time. We are in active.
Ruled out.
We haven't made any decisions about hostage recovery at this time. We just don't also have enough information, Peter, to be able to make decisions like that. But you heard Jake yesterday say, and the president has said, we'll do everything we can anywhere around the world to make sure that Americans held hostage have a path home and to be safe with their families. So we're keeping to Mary's question, obviously we're casting the wide net. We're also keeping the options wide open right now as we get more information, but we just don't have enough granularity to be able to fine tune those options.
Has the president spoken to any of those unaccounted for or any of those Americans dead?
I know that the State Department has been in touch with most of the families of those that we know have been killed. I don't know if they've talked to all of them. I have no conversations from the White House to speak to.
Thank you.
What's the level of concern that American troops who are stationed in the Middle East might be a target of Iran or some proxy forces, and are there steps being taken to secure military installations?
Well, sadly, I mean, our troops in the Middle East are well familiar with the ebb and flow of security concerns for force protection. I mean, it's just part and parcel being deployed there. And it's never not a concern for commanders in the region when it comes to force protection, because some other event somewhere else could absolutely have repercussions for you and your troops. So without speaking to specifics, never do that. What the force protection measures look like, they change all the time. They certainly are adapted to the situation, and the Defense Department will and of course be able to speak to what they're doing.
And are you seeing any evidence of potential domestic threats that people might be inspired by these attacks to do harm here in the U.S. to synagogues or any other?
I know of no specific threats here domestically, based on, like a spillover effect of what's happening between Israel and Hamas. I know of no specific threat streams here to speak to. But you heard the president talk about this yesterday. We're not going to assume anything. But because of the rise of anti-Semitism around the world, and certainly here at home, it makes perfect, prudent sense that we take the kind of action we have taken with local and state authorities to increase our intelligence posture, domestic intelligence posture, and to make sure that we're properly prepared to deter and disrupt any potential violent threat to the Jewish community here at home. And I think you'll hear the president talk about this a little bit more today.
Jackie, and then we'll go to that.
Thank you, Corinne. John, this was a massive intelligence failure. Who bears responsibility for that?
You know something, Jackie? There's going to come a time when it's appropriate for us to take a look back retrospectively and see what the intel picture showed us or didn't show us, whether there's any gaps that need to be closed. There's going to be a time for that. And I suspect that our Israeli counterparts will do the same thing. Now's not that time. It's just not that time.
Can you speak to the reports that Israel was warned by Egypt?
I can't.
McCall from Foreign Affairs made that allegation this morning, saying that that was something that members were told on the Foreign Affairs Committee. So has that been discussed at all, or is that something you're looking into?
I can't speak to specific intelligence matters. Again, there will be a time to look back at this, as we always do, and we will. Right now, we're sharpening the intelligence gathering and cooperation and sharing with Israel, as we should, since they're involved in active operations, and we're making sure that they get the tools they need.
Can you define what the direct link is when you guys talk about Iran not being involved, no direct link? What do you consider to be a direct link?
So what I'm referring to there is any evidence that we have that they were knowledgeable of and aware of these particular attacks. Now, of course, as Jake said yesterday, you know, that they were obviously have been broadly aware of Hamas's hostility.
Yo, did Captain Kirby there just rip a skippy on the live?
Planning that,
because it sure sounded like old man Walter passed through for a half a second.
They knew specifically date, time, method, you know, that they were witting to this. We haven't seen anything.
We might have to capture that fart as a soundbite
to support this set of attacks, or that they were involved in the training. training by these terrorists, or that they were involved in any directing of the operation. So again, I'll get to your. I promise. I don't want you. I'm not trying to, monopolize the time here, but it's not a. We're not one and done here either. We're going to continue to look at the intelligence stream and see if it leads us to a different conclusion. All I can do is be honest with you about the conclusions we're coming to today, and we just haven't seen that.
You kind of answered my follow-up, which is,
good.
Is it the position of the administration that at this stage Iran was not involved? I guess my question is, how can we know that this was in the planning for over a year and within a few short days say that Iran was not behind it?
Because that's what we think. Because we've been looking at it.
It is the position then?
What we think now, again, we have not seen any evidence, specific evidence, that Iran was directly involved with these specific sets of attacks. That doesn't mean that, look, we're going to keep looking at it. The book's not closed.
Kirby farts when he talks to pretty women.
But that's just where we are right now.
All right, we're going to move on. Go ahead, Anita.
I'm sorry to yammer on the Iran thing, but
What the hell?
what did Iran know?
Adina, we'll try and get to everything.
Sorry, what did Iran know and when did they know it? Where are we now?
Does Jackie got ballet slippers on?
When they knew it about this attack.
I think I'd give you the same answer I gave Jackie.
Moving on.
See you tonight.
The foreign minister is coming to D.C. soon. Just wondering if you can preview what's on the agenda, who he's meeting with, and then let us know, what the prospects are for a Xi-Biden meeting and whether that might be at APEC in November.
I think we'll have more to say about the specific agenda as we get closer to it. I don't have any of the details for you now, and I don't have anything to announce or speak to with respect to a meeting between President Biden and President Xi.
Good, Nadia.
Thank you. John, I'm here.
Thank you.
Yesterday I saw a heart-wrenching stories of testimonies of Israeli families who lost their loved one, similar to the one that made you tear up on TV. One of them is the story of Haim Katzman. His sister appealed to the Israeli government, who is a peace activist. She's asking the Israeli government not to kill civilians in Gaza in his name. Is this a message that you encourage and you carry to your Israeli partners? Considering that today we have 11 UN workers have been killed, 4 journalists, and 1,100 civilians, how can you make sure that these people are not collateral damage?
I've kind of addressed this before, but I'm happy to revisit it quickly. Again, we don't want to see any more innocent civilian life taken or lost. None. I mean, the number should be 0 of innocent civilians killed or harmed right now. Sadly, that's not the case. And I can't stand here, I wouldn't stand here before you and try to predict that in a war, which is still raging.
Well, then what the hell is it that you're doing?
For yet some time, that there won't be additional civilian casualties. I wish I could promise you that's not going to be the case, but I can't. We don't want to see any more, but I can't promise that. All I can do is repeat what the president said, that this is what differentiates democracies, modern democracies like Israel and the United States from Hamas. Hamas is deliberately, the whole purpose of the initial attacks on Saturday were to kill, to murder, to butcher, to slaughter. They weren't trying to occupy territory. They were trying to kill. And they are the ones placing the Palestinians at greater risk by headquartering themselves in hospitals and schools.
Yeah, Brian.
Thanks a lot. Hi, John. Is the White House putting forward a funding package to Congress that puts together funding for Israel with funding for the border, funding for Taiwan, and funding for Ukraine?
We're in active conversations with Congress about additional funding that we know we need specifically for Israel and for Ukraine. I'm not prepared to detail those conversations for you right now or tell you what the parameters are going to be because, frankly, those parameters haven't been yet arrived at or even decided upon. But we are in active discussions about additional funding. We need it, as I said in my opening statement.
Oh, thank you. Could you give a little bit of an update on what the administration is doing to find out more about the Americans who are being held hostage and whatever you're able to discuss about what those efforts look like?
Tough to get more detail. We're obviously talking to the Israelis about what they might know. They're on the ground, and they've unfortunately had to deal with this sort of a scenario before. So they've been tremendously forthcoming with the information that they have, but understanding that the information that even they have right now isn't all that specific. I mean, we just don't have a lot of granularity on where these people are or what condition they might be in, or whether they're being moved. So I truly wish I had more that I could provide, because there's a lot of families out there really, really worried. And the families, quite frankly, too, for all their grief and sorrow and the anguish they're going through, some of them have been helpful in terms of helping us understand where their loved ones were when they were abducted. Some of them may have even seen it. So, like, it's a conversation that we're having with family members as well.
Good, Ariel.
Thank you so much. I have a question on the role tech platforms are playing right now. The EU has specifically asked Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg to crack down on misleading information related to the attacks on Israel. Has the administration had this kind of engagement? Is it making the same kind of demands?
I'm not aware of any such discussions with tech companies about that.
Okay.
You're not aware of any of that? No more Twitter files going on? Is that what you're saying, Kirby Face?
Parties should not be escalating the conflict at this time. What evidence do you have about whether that message has been heeded?
It's not the kind of thing that they, phone in and say, okay, got it. We have not seen to date, we have not seen another actor intentionally try to widen the conflict. All we can go is by what we're seeing and we're not seeing. It's important that we send that signal with the arrival of that carrier strike group and with the rhetoric, of course, coming out from our administration. We'll keep doing that.
And what variables and within what time frame would the U.S. look to consider when making a decision about deploying additional assets to the region?
I think it's going to depend on how things are going in the region. Again, we don't want to see this conflict widen any more than it already has. Israel's focused rightly on Hamas. Opening up additional fronts for them, obviously, would be just a horrible scenario. We don't want to see that happen.
Peter.
Congressman Lawler just said on TV that they're expecting an announcement within 24 hours about an airlift to the U.S. citizens. Can you tell us anything about that?
I don't have any details for you on that. I would just tell you, Peter, that we're in State Department is in active touch with American citizens in Israel. Many of them, as you well know, are dual nationals, to try to make sure that that A, we've got the connection, and B, that we know if they have any concerns, like in the case that they want to leave. So we're in active conversations with Americans on the ground there, and we want to make sure. Right now, there are still commercial carriers, not all, some, flying in and out of Ben Gurion every day. There are still now viable ground routes if you wanted to leave safely out of Israel. That is also an option to you. But neither of those options may necessarily be feasible or affordable to certain Americans. And so we are exploring actively a range of other options to assist if Americans want to leave. I'm just not at liberty now to go into more detail about that.
Dual citizens, can you identify, do you know how many of the 22 Americans who have died and the 17 that are unaccounted for, how many of them are dual citizens versus just pure, only American?
The State Department might be able to give you that. I don't have that data handy. But again,
so when are they going to bring back the UFOs and aliens?
Citizens in Israel are, in fact,
when's that stuff going to come back?
Israelis on decisions on what to do about them, that they are, in fact, mostly dual citizens?
I'm sorry, say that?
Does that mean that we would defer to the Israelis in terms of deciding what actions to take if they're mostly their citizens?
A dual national with an American passport is an American. And we will take seriously our responsibilities to get any wrongfully detained or hostage, American hostage, home to their families where they belong. They're Americans.
John, you talked about the Eisenhower leaving on his pre-scheduled deployment to potentially be out there in case positioned near the fort. What about reports about the USS George Washington and also the HMS Prince of Wales? Are they also being readied?
I don't know of any plans for them to be readied. Again, I'd refer you to the Defense Department to speak to other units. I want to remind the Eisenhower is preparing for a long-scheduled deployment to the region, and I don't have any operational decisions to speak to. I just thought it was important to put that into some context because I saw some reporting yesterday that seemed to suggest it was a definite decision that she was going to join the Ford. That could happen, I don't know, but she will be deploying into the Mediterranean and will be an available asset as well as her escort vessels.
Okay, I have another follow-up here. It seems like you've really been trying to, excuse me, project the message that you want to contain this. You want to make sure that state and non-state actors get the message that you want to keep this contained. So how does it help that effort when you have statements like Senator Graham on Capitol Hill saying, if Hezbollah in the north attacks Israel in strength, we should tell the Ayatollah we will destroy your oil refineries and your oil.
Look at everybody else's face.
About statements like that.
I'll let members of Congress speak for their comments and what they think should be done or should not be done. The president's the commander-in-chief. The responsibility is on his shoulders. And he's also, of course, a strong supporter of Israel, has been for his entire life in public service. We have to answer for the policy decisions that we make, and we're comfortable doing that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's okay.
Amar's head is right there. You scoot down a little bit. I'm kidding.
On the humanitarian corridor, I know you said there's conversations.
Racist.
Could you provide some more detail? I mean, what would the U.S.'s involvement in that be? Are we talking encouraging conversations with Israel and Egypt? Would we have direct involvement in creating some kind of a humanitarian corridor here for the 2 million plus people to leave? They have no option at this point.
We want to see that they have an option. And Israel and Egypt are the two most significant players when it comes to trying to get that corridor open. So I think you can understand, at least I hope you do, that I wouldn't want to get into too much of the diplomacy here and the conversations that we're having, but we are having active conversations about trying to allow for that safe passage. So again, these civilians did nothing wrong, and so we want to make sure they have a way out.
Did the president and Prime Minister Netanyahu have a conversation about this this morning, yesterday?
As I said in my first answer, I'm not going to get into too much of the diplomacy here.
And could you get into specifics on the aid that you said the U.S. would want to provide to the Gaza Strip? I mean, with food, water, medications, what kind of aid would the U.S. want to
provide? The normal kind of humanitarian assistance we provide normally. I mean, we are the biggest contributor to humanitarian assistance to the Palestinian people, particularly there in Gaza, and we want to see that. We want to be able to see that assistance continue. So it's food, water, medical supplies, medicine. I mean, it's the whole panoply of humanitarian assistance that we know are important because, again, these people are victims too. They didn't ask Hamas to do this.
Is there an increase, though, in the amount of aid that's going? Right.
I don't have any new announcements to make in terms of increases. We want to see we are the greatest contributor of humanitarian assistance. We're obviously proud of that. We want to be able to see that humanitarian assistance be able to continue.
Go ahead, Ed.
I want to ask you about oil, if I could, and the money that it's bringing in. So is the amount of oil that's being brought in by Iran, specifically records amount, 85% to China, and more oil being sold above the price cap from Russia, giving the president any pause on changing these energy policies for fossil fuels here in the U.S.?
Let me back up a little bit. I mean, it's important to remember that Iran gets most of its oil revenue off the black market, and evading sanctions, which they do. It's costly to them. In fact, our evidence is that they really only receive a fraction of the market value of the oil that they sell because they have to sell it on the black market. We will always, as we do in any case, typically revisit sanctions regimes to see if they need to be changed or adjusted, specifically with respect to Iranian oil. The president, since the beginning of the administration, had been concerned about making sure we have a viable global market for oil, working hard to keep the prices of gasoline down here in the United States. Part of that is making sure you remove some of the volatility in that global supply and demand. I don't have any announcements or decisions to make today with respect to any changes to the domestic oil production.
But isn't it a national security issue when you have countries that are profiting off of oil and the increased price of oil that don't like Israel, that don't like America?
We don't want, for instance, Russia to be able to get a windfall in profits from the oil market, so that they can then turn that around and apply that to weapons in Ukraine. We certainly don't want to see Iran be able to do much of the same, which is why we're putting as much pressure on them as we are.
So why not increase oil production here?
Again, I don't have any announcements to make today.
Go ahead.
Thanks. Just to follow up on Brian's question, I know contours of the congressional package is still taking shape, but can you provide us anything on a timeline or give us a sense of how quickly the U.S. would exhaust what it can provide to Israel before congressional action is needed?
We have existing authorities and appropriations to support Israel in the near term. And I got asked last time, what does near term or what's a bit mean? I can't give you a date certain on the calendar, because a lot of it's going to depend on their expenditure rate and what the replenishment ability is, or what the need is, and what our ability to do it is. But in the near term, we've got appropriations and authorities for both Ukraine and for Israel. But you don't want to be trying to bake in long-term support when you're at the end of the rope. And in Ukraine, on the Ukraine funding, we're coming near to the end of the rope. I mean, today we announced $200 million, and we'll keep that aid going as long as we can, but it's not going to be indefinite. So are we moving with a sense of alacrity? Absolutely. I couldn't give you a date certain on the calendar.
Can I follow up on that for a second? The lack of a speaker in the House of Representatives, I'll venture to say, has probably not had any impact on this situation at the moment. Are there, though, coming to be immediate needs for Israel if Republicans get their act together up on the Hill?
I mean, I don't need to tell you, it's Civics 101. The Speaker of the House is responsible. I mean, that position is critical in terms of bringing legislation to the floor and moving things forward. So the sooner there's a Speaker of the House, obviously the more comfortable we'll all be in terms of being able to support Israel and Ukraine. Right now, you're right. Because of existing appropriations and existing authorities, we've been okay. But that's not going to last forever.
Immediate needs at all? Pardon? Immediate needs at all, do you see?
I think in the immediate term right now, we can continue to support, with the authorities and the appropriations we have, Israel and Ukraine. But, we're certainly running out of runway.
We don't have to. We don't have to support those places. Let's support ourselves and see what happens.
Will the White House lean on the Senate to move some of these military promotions more quickly and one by one, if necessary? And then second, more generally, given that Hamas has killed 22 Americans and that 17 are still in hostage, I know you said the goal here is not to widen the conflict, but why has the United States only assumed a supplemental role thus far?
So on your first question, what's going on in Israel right now just underscores how important it is that our military has the leadership they need in place. And it's not just the ones that are in the jobs now that are being held up, it's the jobs they're supposed to go to. I mean, right now, the incoming Fifth Fleet commander, the 3-star Navy admiral who's in charge of the naval forces in the Gulf region, is not confirmed for that job. So the guy who's in the job is still doing it. So these rotations matter, and they do have an impact on the military's ability to fleet up into and improve.
Just go away. Just go away.
Impact, and it would end. Now that you've got these moves in Israel, and you have the need to provide additional military resources from the Navy and the Eastern Med, all I think just highlights how dynamic the security environment is around the world, and how much more critical it is that the leadership of the military be able to address that dynamism through the normal promotion process and the normal assignment process. I would take issue with your a comment about a supplemental role. I'm not really quite sure what you mean by that, but
To assist and offer advice and counsel.
that's right, we are. That's right, and we're going to continue to have those conversations with the Israelis. If you're talking about the hostage recovery efforts, we'll have those conversations. But
Can you hear me? Oh, you can hear me, but you can't hear the computer. Hold on a second. I don't know what just happened.
hard, hour by hour. But I'm not going to stand up here and lie to you and say that we have it all figured out.
Kirby's breaking my computer. Get off stage.
Jews across the world are appreciative for this administration's support, both the words and indeed. I'd like to convey this message to you. A few very quick questions. I want to follow up on the reports that Hamas is calling for a day of general mobilization on Friday, October 13th. Are there any specific proactive measures that American Jews should take, in your opinion?
You mean here at home?
Here at home.
Well, first of all, I mean, and you've heard the president talk about this. We understand the anxious, the anxiety, the concern. Certainly, here in the United States, as anti-Semitism unfortunately rears its head, but also we know that.
I thought it was white supreme pizza was the problem here.
It's big, but it's small, and everybody knows somebody, and we know that there's
It's big and it's small, and everybody knows somebody. This is lessons he lives by.
that are there. We share that worry with them. We want them to know that we know that there's fear, and that we're going to do everything we can to reduce that level of fear, that they should be able to worship and recreate and work in peace and safety on every street in the United States of America. And that's why we're working so closely with state and local authorities to be able to identify any potential threats and disrupt those threats before they happen. But mostly, we want the Jewish community over there and certainly here to know that we're with them.
I've got one more question, John. In the event Israel strikes Iran, what levels of support can they anticipate from this administration?
I won't get into hypothetical operations that haven't happened yet or what policy options might accrue from that. I just won't do it.
Mary, you have the last question.
Thanks, I appreciate it. I know you said that it's been so hard to get any information out about U.S. hostages, but have you gotten any proof of life?
I'm not aware of any specific proof of life on any individual hostage. And I would say that of the 17 that Karine talked about that we know are missing right now, and again, this is going to change, but right now we think the number that we know or we believe are held hostage is very small, like less than a handful. But that could change over time. We're going to get more information every single day.
You talked about the need to get, the U.S. was supporting trying to get more humanitarian assistance into Gaza. The UN Human Rights Chief said that any siege that would cut off necessary supplies like food and water could also be a violation of international law. Is that how the U.S. sees it?
I think I'm just going to not get ahead of where we are right now, if you'll just let me do that. Okay, thanks everybody.
Thank you. All right, guys, a few minutes.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Admiral. I don't know if you guys have any more questions. Admiral? Yeah.
So the CBO yesterday said that the budget deficit totaled 1.7 trillion, which is an increase from 300 billion from last year. Why did the deficit increase if the U.S. economy is doing so well, as President Biden has said?
So a couple of things. As you know, the president has, when it comes to the deficit, he has done a record amount of work in reducing the deficit, as you just laid out. One of the things that we have seen is that congressional Democrats continue to do the trickle-down economics, which we know it doesn't work, right? You've heard us call Meganomics, right? And so it has increased the deficit. It has increased even more than than it was anticipated. And so this is what we believe is Meganomics.
Did Hyena Harris write this for her?
Just a couple of things to lay out here. If you think about the Republican tax cuts, they are responsible for about 90% of the increase in the debt as a share of the economy, and that's over the last 2 decades, right? This is for some time now.
You're going to blame the last 2 decades on Trump?
Emergency spending. And so if you look at 2023, the increase, as you just laid out, the falling tax revenue caused 63% of the increase in the deficit, and the non-interest.
She looks like her shirt smells like an old sock.
In the deficit in 2023, but it's causing just 6% of the increase. So that's how we see this.
Her eyes tell me she's been sampling the fentanyl.
Break it down. That's how it's been broken down, and how we see why the deficit has increased. Again, this is decades and decades. If you think about it,
and it's all Trump's fault, right?
It doesn't work. It doesn't work, and we see that in the numbers from yesterday.
Oh, the Maganomics doesn't work over the last 2 decades.
Suggesting that another CR bill could be needed potentially into next year. Would the president support such a bill? And
I thought that was Candace Owens for a second.
I'm not going to get ahead or get into the hypotheticals of how Congress is doing their business. Obviously, the House Republicans have to figure out who's going to be the next leader. As the president said, he doesn't have a vote in that. They have to make that decision as they're moving forward in figuring that out. But what we want to see is what we want to see happening is that we want the House and Congress to get back to work, so that we can deliver for the American people. I'm not going to get into hypotheticals, not going to get into their process here, but certainly they're trying to figure it out right now in the chaos that they've caused.
there is another
The verdict's in. No one likes the bow on her shirt.
and Israel aid in that package.
I mean, we've been very clear. We believe, and this is something that Jake said yesterday, like we are capable as the United States, right, to be able to give funding, additional funding to Israel, to give additional funding to Ukraine. This is something that we are capable of doing, and the importance of doing that is clearly important. I'm not going to get, there's going to be a path forward that the OMB director is going to lay out and see the best way to move forward. I'm not going to get into ahead of that. You heard the president yesterday saying that he is going to, as you just iterated, that he's going to ask for more funding as it relates to Israel. I'm just not going to get ahead of that process. But this is something, again, that Jake said, that we are capable of doing that, capable of providing the assistance that's needed.
Just before we came out here, Republicans voted to nominate Congressman Scalise as a speaker. He obviously hasn't gotten the support of the entire caucus yet. I was wondering if the White House is monitoring that and if you have any comment on a potential speaker of Scalise.
Look, I hope that the House Republicans gets their affairs in order and stops the chaos so that we can, they can select the speakers that of their choosing.
So according to KJP, Democrats have never ever done anything wrong, including the last couple decades. It's always been the Maganomics since the beginning.
In that process, but we want to see the chaos be done with so that we can deliver for the American people. As you heard today, the president made a very important announcement on junk fees, right? Something that Americans care about, another way to lower cost for Americans. So the president's continuing, even with the chaos that they're causing on the other side of Pennsylvania Avenue, the president every day is continuing to deliver for the American people, clearly being a leader on the world stage as we're talking about the horrific attack in Israel, as we're talking about how we're going to, the need to continue the Ukraine funding. So the president is doing all of that, and we're waiting. We're waiting for them to get their business in order. Okay, Kayla.
How soon after House leadership gets settled is the administration prepared to send a new supplemental request?
I don't have a timeline for you. I think the president said next week, right? He mentioned next week as it relates to Israel and when the Senate gets back. I just don't have anything specific or any details to lay out on the exact timeline.
And how closely does it hew to what the administration put forward in August with the addition of new funding for Israel?
Again, we're going to try and figure out the best path forward. I just don't have anything specifics to lay out at this time. Go ahead.
Thanks, Kareem. Do you have a list of attendees for today's meeting on anti-Semitism?
So we'll have a list for all of you, a readout of that later on. It's about, I believe, 20 leaders from the Jewish community. I laid out the staff, the senior staffers who were going to be participating on our end, and we'll certainly have a more in-depth readout afterwards.
Thanks, Karine. On junk fees, most of the fees they talked about are disclosures and don't reduce, but the ones that do reduce, isn't this just a game of whack-a-mole and those fees will pop up somewhere else?
Look, no, not at all. These are FTC rule covers many junk fees. And just to lay out a little bit, and I think you've heard this from many of our folks here in the past 24 hours, why this is so important. They cost consumers tens of billions of dollars if you think about junk fees. That's what they cost consumers. And this FTC rule would ban many of them, as I just laid out, and including event tickets. hotels, car rentals, delivery apps, and apartment rentals. And so this is a CFPB's crackdown. It's important. The president has been very clear throughout when he talks about his economic plan, he talks about how he's going to move forward to deliver for the American people and lowering costs. And this is part of that, lowering costs, making people's lives, Americans' lives, a little bit easier. So we do not see this as a whack-a-mole. We believe that the junk fees will cover many of the fees that we see out there, as I just listed out. Right behind you. Okay.
Thank you. This is related to the situation in the House, but is it the view of the White House that the Gang of Eight has an intelligence Gang of Eight that receives the top-level briefings from the executive branch has 8 members, or is the Speaker pro tem, Mr. McHenry, getting the security briefings at the very top level, or are there effectively only 7 members with the Speaker being vacant?
I would refer you to the Speaker pro tem. I don't have that information for you. I would just refer you to his office. All right, I'm going to
haven't called on me in 2 seasons, Kareem.
And not calling on you today. Go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
You should be ashamed
Go
of
ahead.
that.
Go ahead.
That shows
Go ahead.
disrespect to a free and
Go
independent
ahead.
media. It's a blacklist,
I'm gonna
one of our country's
I'm gonna-
largest and most widely read newspapers, Kareem. That shows contempt for a free and independent press.
Go ahead. I'm calling on somebody who I haven't called in a long time as well. Go ahead.
Thanks. Why wasn't the president originally scheduled to attend this meeting with this roundtable later this afternoon? It wasn't on the guidance from yesterday when it was published.
Well, as you know, the president tends to do drop-bys on the day of. The president's schedule has been incredibly busy over the last couple of days, as you know, right, with the situation that's currently happening in Israel, with making calls, meeting with his NSC team, and he believed, because the leaders were coming in, that he wanted to drop by and have a conversation and say that we are there with them. This happens all the time. It's not unusual for us to announce a drop by, and so this is what you're seeing today. And we believe this is going to be incredibly important for the president to be there with the Jewish leaders in the communities, and so it's important. It's going to be an important moment.
Is there anything you can tell us about this incident that happened with Congressman Van Orden and White House staff? Apparently he was belligerent during the briefing on the attacks in Israel, was shouting profanity at them. Is there anything you can tell us about that incident?
No, I don't have anything to share beyond what you're reporting or the reportings from out of that. All right. No, we're going to go because we have to get ready for the Jewish leaders. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Prostitute.
My goodness. She's going to piss off enough people to fill a whole press briefing room full of people she don't call on. My goodness. I don't even know that guy's name or who he works for or what. He's like the second or third person to yell something at her because she won't call on anybody unless they've already had pre-screened questions. And even then, she just refers them to somebody else. It's like she doesn't have a job. She's just the operator. You just make the call. She just plugs you into someone else. She has nothing going on. There's just nothing inside here. Just nothing. Kind of like the deer after I hit it at 75 miles an hour. It's just nothing. Nothing going on in here. I need a couple of these. Straighten it out. Goodness. Gotta get the mental cleanse. Gotta wash the KJP out of your brain. That sounds like communism. Oh, it is. Okay, anyways. So we're going to be moving forward to this next video here. We already played the one with Kari Lake running for Senate. Now we're going to play this video titled Detroit's Big Three Increases Layoffs, Begin Factory Pauses Amid UAW Strike. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. This whole situation is kind of weird to me because they're on strike. And the last I heard, the companies were at the table and they were waiting for the union people, the employees, to come to the table and make an offer. There was some sort of back and forth, and then there was like a stalemate, and then the company sat back down and was like, okay, what's your guys' counter offer or whatever? And instead of the employees coming and negotiating the offer, which is the point of the strike, is to cause enough civil disobedience and annoyance to the point where they're like, all right, fine, we'll give you a deal. What is it you're looking for? Well, instead of the employees coming back to the table, they just increased the strike. And so now the companies are going out there saying, well, we're waiting for them to make an offer to us that we can negotiate, but instead they just encourage more people to go on strike. So here we are sitting here without anyone to negotiate with. And so now it kind of feels like it's all for show. It's almost like more propaganda. So I don't know exactly what's going on here, but we need to watch this closely to understand, I guess, because there's some sort of sleight of hand going on. Let's figure it out.
Workers strike now in its fourth week. Detroit's Big Three, they've begun to put factories on pause and lay off employees.
Yeah, I got to continue to talk about this. Our Emily Finn joins us now in studio with more on these latest layoffs. Emily?
Marky, good morning. Ford, GM, and Stellantis have all laid off even more factory workers this week due to the ongoing UAW strike as the work stoppage nears the 1-month mark. Now, a total of almost 5,000 non-union workers have lost their jobs since the strike began, and the Big Three have not indicated any plans to rehire them if the automakers are able to reach an agreement with the union soon.
They've also laid off an additional 800 workers because those are plants that would be supplying engines and transmissions to the plants that are currently shut down. So we have a lot of cost to manufacturers.
Automotive analyst Lauren Fick says manufacturers and suppliers are bearing the brunt of the ripple effects of the UAW strike as the union continues weeks-long negotiations for better benefits and better pay. Detroit-based supplier Sodexo Automotive laid off 62% of its workforce on Monday due to the work stoppage, while there were thousands of non-union layoffs at Ford, GM, and Stellantis factories as well.
It's going to cause the cost of vehicle to go up. They say it won't, but we all know someone's going to be paying that price, and it's going to be the buyer.
An additional 4,000 union workers at Mack Trucks also joined in on the picket lines this week after voting down a new contract agreement. With those workers added, the total number of UAW members has surpassed 30,000 across 22 states. However, progress has been made with the Big Three to meet the union's long list of demands. Fix says the UAW's push for a 32-hour work week is now off the table, but the plan to shift to building electric vehicles is a sticking point.
Electric vehicles, if we were to go 100%, would be 40% less members or workers from the UAW. They would become more robotic. A lot of things would still be made overseas.
But the UAW representative at Chicago's Ford plant, Michael Marzillo, says while tentative agreements with any of the Big Three are a good sign, union members are still on strike until the contracts are officially authorized, and some workers are already struggling financially from the work stoppage.
Even if with the tentative agreement and the voting, you're still on strike until it passes. We haven't gotten our strike pay yet. And that's not coming for a couple of weeks. And, there are a lot of people that live paycheck to paycheck.
Now, there have been some positive developments in contract negotiations between General Motors and auto workers in Canada. GM reached an agreement with Unifor, which is the Canadian counterpart to the UAW, and that happened on Tuesday. They secured pay raises and better benefits for workers. We will be keeping a close eye on the negotiations here in the U.S., hopefully taking a play out of our northern neighbors' playbook and ending the strike soon. Adrian and Marky.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find.
I don't know. I don't know what to think about that whole situation. It's happening here. I mean, it's happening everywhere, but it's happening right here in Michigan, right? Big Three and all that. I don't know. We got a couple hooligans that are part of all of that stuff. I mean, I don't know if they're necessarily a part of the strike itself, but they're a part of the UAW and all that stuff. And they've kind of mentioned some things here and there about how it's going, but I don't know. The whole point of being on strike is to get the company to bend its knee and be like, all right, what is it that you want? We can't have you guys out front raising all this commotion and stuff. We don't want to bring scabs in. We're tired of you outside yelling. What do you want? And then they come to the table and they say, this is what we want. But when that's not going on and you prefer to strike than solve problems, it makes me wonder what is actually going on here. And I think I only feel that way because of watching the protesters. When I first started covering the protesters, they were real protesters. They were people who were really crying in the streets about what was happening in America. And I think a lot of that stress came from the lockdowns more than systematic racism. But they really meant it. They weren't being violent. They weren't being crazy. They really wanted change. And any little bit of change they got, they were celebrating it in a peaceful way. But after Trump signed the order to kind of create a bank of police officers to keep track of all their nonsense, like a universal police tracker, after he created that, all the actual protesters and activists went home, and only 20-year-olds and Antifa and people like that stayed. And then watching that happen and watching them protest everything for no reason, and even if you wanted to accommodate their feelings, they would find something else to protest, because protesting was the goal, not saving anybody, not making change, not making things better. Just how long can we stand in the street and beg for donations off our live stream and set buildings on fire? And it's always a new cause every day, as long as they can keep the perpetual protest going. And seeing the UAW strike and hearing what's going on with the negotiations makes me feel like it's happening all over again. And I don't know why, but that's what it feels like to me. And it could be just my perception because of all the brain damage I've received over the last 3 years of watching protesters and stuff. But it feels like it's just, I need attention. Look at me. I need attention. Go get your problems solved. They're there at the table. Like, I don't understand. I'm not there. So, I mean, I don't know. I only know what I'm hearing and seeing and reading. But, man, if they're at the table, go negotiate your stuff. Get it taken care of. Get off the street. And then that guy said, strike pay. What the hell is strike pay? I've never heard of that. You went on strike to fix your pay. I didn't know you got paid to be on strike. Now it sounds even more like protesters. Getting paid, professional, I can't remember what it's called now. They would list them on Craigslist. I can't remember what it's called now, but basically like staged actors to act as activists. That's a lot of acting going on. That's what it kind of feels like with this strike thing, and I hope that's not what's going on. I hope they get what they're looking for, because I want people to be happy and whatnot. But I don't want to see perpetual striking just because you want attention, because what that does is that hurts our rights. Like, I don't know if people realize that, but there could be a time in the future where we really need to strike, or we really need to protest. And when we go do that, people are going to be like, psst, because everybody's protesting and striking for nothing. So when there is something to be upset about, no one's going to care, because we're screaming wolf as much as we can over every little thing going on. And it's burning it out. It's burning out. We are overstaying our welcome when it comes to protesting and striking, it feels like. And when we really need it, we're not going to be able to use it. They may even develop policies against it. Who knows? If they calculated all the damage from the protests over the last 3 years, they might just find a way to intervene every time we want to protest or need to protest because of all of that. You know how the government is. They're sneaky. Look at how guns are, right? We have the right to bear arms. But then look at all the gun laws attached. That's because they get to throw numbers out. They could be, oh, well, there's so much damage. Oh, there's so much killings. Oh, there's so much crime. And it's all related to guns. So even though it's your right, we're going to restrict it. And we have reasons. Look at our graphs. And that's what they do. And they could do the same thing for protesting and striking and all that. They could say, oh, well, it's such a nuisance that even though it's your right, we're going to put all these restrictions on it. And they're going to do all this ahead of time, and then when we're like, hey, something's wrong and we need to strike or protest, we'll be in the little box. We'll be right where they restricted us. And it won't matter. It won't be effective. I worry about things like that. Breezy, the sky is falling every day. Every day. I'm going to read through the chat really quick before we move forward. We got 2 more videos to go. Let's see. Annette, they did this BS before World War II started. Then everyone was hired back and started making materials for war. Cars, tanks, and planes, etc. Yeah, I remember reading about that. That's how it goes. War is good for government business, I guess. It's not good for anybody else. Let's see. Peyton, unions are not needed for a true 5D culture. The places I've worked that have unions and stuff, the people who are actually a part of the union don't like it. Like, before you're unionized, you get to keep the majority of your paycheck except for what goes to taxes. But then when you're unionized, then you got union fees or union dues. And I guess after you pay taxes and union dues, you're pretty much making minimum wage. But you're working at a factory and putting your life in danger and stuff. So I used to see a lot of unhappy union workers pretty much over the last 20 years I've been working or whatever. It may not be that way everywhere, but that's what I've experienced here. Silver Wolf, I bought a Ford once. Never again. I can't talk about that stuff right now. I can't. I'm trying to get my own car. You Hooligans have been very generous to me and really helping me out and got me in a position where I'm actually able to find something. I'm working on it. You know, getting a car is difficult. But I would not be able to even look for a car if it wasn't for you Hooligans. So I don't want to say how much I don't like Ford and piss you guys off. I don't want that. I just want to say I appreciate all of you Hooligans. We'll talk about cars after I get one. I ain't got no business hating on anybody else's car while I'm wandering around on my Lamborghinis, riding Klaus Daniels to the grocery store. I ain't got no business talking bad about cars. I'll leave that to you drivers out there. I'm just housebound for now. The deer put me on house arrest. Klaus Daniels is my probation officer, and you Hooligans are my witnesses. Let's see. DeRosa, Jeff's got the Subaru blues. Come on, man. I'm trying to stay light and fluffy. I'm trying not to let it get me down. I'm actually like real beat up about it until I go live. This is the only time I'm happy is when I'm live. Otherwise, I'm stressed, yelling at the cat. He's yelling back. I cry a little, and we just rinse and repeat. It's good stuff. What's up, Kirk Allen? Happy freedom. Appreciate you being here. Mr. Beansy Beans, brain damage or not, we all love you. I appreciate you, Mr. Beansy Beans. Let's see. A2Z, Republican. Oh, it says Republican chaos. I thought it said Republican shoes, and then my quick brain was like, that's what we're throwing at KJP. They're Republican shoes. Those are conservative shoes that she's catching with her face. I see. And my dad never got paid when he was on strike. He used to work for General Electric in town. I've never heard of strike pay. I didn't know you could get paid to be on strike. Because if you could, I'm kind of surprised more people aren't on strike. You know, like we keep talking about war. Every time a war happens, here comes America with a big fat check. Here you go. Enjoy your war. Well, if we're paying people to be striking, are we going to see more strikes? Is that how that works? You saw what happened with the protesters. Sort of started paying protesters and all the... There's a center in New York. There's a couple of them that are like... whatever the phrase is for these people, I can't think what it is, but it's like chaos something, like chaos actors or demonstrators or whatever, paid activists, whatever they are. But there's like training camps for that stuff where they get hired in and figure out how to behave and activate and raise awareness for scared and stupid people. And then look at how many activists we had 3 years ago. I talk about this all the time. You couldn't scroll on Facebook without every other profile having an activist ring around the profile thing. You go to their description and it's got BLM and 16 flags and 13 pronouns and here's a link to my PayPal and you want to support our movement to, I don't know, make beavers brush their teeth more because, you know, white supremacy is off the rails. I don't know. I'm not a gynecologist, but that's how it goes. That's how it goes. You encourage people with money and they'll show up. They will show up. So I wonder if we'll see more strikes in the future since they're getting paid. Let's see. MU, you do a good job hiding it. I'm just adapting. I'm just adapting to the situation. I appreciate you, MU. Let's see, Joe. Strike pay would be like $200 a week instead of $1,800 a week. And you have to pick it to make it. I'll pass. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a great deal. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Because there's not a lot of unions where I live. So I'm used to going into a job where they might have just pulled a body out of the machine that I'm using. Right? They're like, oh, you know Jack? He works third shift on your machine. I'm like, yeah, Jack died last night. He dropped his bologna sandwich in the machine, and when he reached for it, it clamped down on his spinal cord and broke him into 16 pieces. But we got him cleared up, and I'm just here talking to you to let you know you're going to be working 14 hours today. So, you know, I bet you're glad we gave you that 3 cents raise this month. Get to work. You know, and that's it. That's it. You're sweating your ass off. You got metal shavings in your eyes and in your ears and in your mouth. There's aluminum in the air and it's all glittery and you have no PPE. You're just hard hat and plastic glasses, just trying to wipe the blood stains off your machines before you start to operate, making $11 an hour. And if you die, they just kick your body over and put someone else there. So I don't understand unions. That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. I'm used to making near no money and having my life in danger. It's like being in the military without all the glory. Like, really. It's no good. You know, so having work be hard and then going on strike has never been in my options. So to hear that they're getting paid to do that is like, why don't you just work? But I'm not in their shoes. It's not really fair for me to judge. I'm just reflecting it off of my life experience and trying to figure it all out inside. Reading through the chat just a little bit more and we're going to be moving forward. Let's see. Matt, are you just throwing out vehicles to get a reaction out of me? I can't do this today, okay? You wait till I get a car, and then we'll go through the list of all the cars I can't stand. Let's see. Elisa, you do not reach into the machine. You're not supposed to reach into the machine. That's what KJP said. No. You're supposed to observe with your eyes. Watch with your eyes, not your hands. Like toddlers. I don't know. I've seen some scary and stupid stuff happen at factories. There was a factory I used to work at where we made the sunroofs for like all the Tesla models, and it wasn't a Tesla factory. They outsource a lot of their stuff. They don't tell you that, but they do. Half the stuff's made in Michigan, but people were getting wrecked in that factory, missing fingers, get your arm ripped off. Just not good. I was there. I made it 4 days, and then I lost my hearing in my left ear because I'm allergic to non-precious metals, and having the aluminum glitter in the air and breathing it in and putting earplugs in, I had an allergic reaction and lost my hearing on my left side. And after that was 4th day in, I lost my hearing, and on day 9 I couldn't work anymore. I was like running into stuff and knocking stuff over and not being good with my hands because my equilibrium was off because I'm deaf on this side. Then the deafness turned into, oh my God, I can't think of what it's called. Ringing. All I can hear is ringing in this left ear. Now, thankfully, after some antibiotics and 6 weeks of rest without a job, my hearing came back, but I still have, I think it's tinnitus. I still have it in this ear. So if it's too quiet, I just hear loud ringing in this ear. And thanks, factory, right? Like, and then they let me go. They were like, well, you ain't been here in the 9 days. I was like, I'm injured. Like, I should get workman's comp or something. They're like, nah, you're a temp. You're not getting workman's comp. That was true. They let me go. I lost my hearing, got permanent ear damage, or however that needs to be phrased. And yeah, all that for, it was like $9.50 an hour to go work in a factory. I'm like, nah. No, thank you. Let's see. Just flipping through the chat really quick. To Rosa, dang. Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing, though. If your life is ran through the mud and it's happening to you, you get to really enjoy the good stuff. You know, like, you wouldn't know how good something was if you didn't go through all the bad stuff. And so having instances like when a deer runs out in front of you when you're cruising, just got some fresh Taco Bell, right? It's 12 o'clock. No one's on the road. It's a nice temperature outside. You ain't got nothing going on. And then the deer comes out and just lets you have it, wrecks your car, wrecks your week, wrecks your wallet all in one go. See what the outcome is. That's why I try. I'm like, you know, life can suck really bad, but when it's time to enjoy it, take it in. Take it in. That's why, like, on Sundays, I go for walks. I go and talk to people. I go and help people. I'm like a people person on Sunday to try and let go of that weight. Gotta let that stuff go. There's a lot of, like, my grandpa used to tell me all the time, dang, Jeff, if you didn't have no bad luck, you'd have no luck at all. And that used to make me so bad. I'm like, Grandpa, you think I don't know that? You think I don't know that? I'm the one with the luck. and it's run out. And he's like, hey, it'll be all right. And he had good luck, and he was a smart guy. But I'm used to it now. As an adult, I'm like eating shit, right? Just hardcore double spoon eating shit. And I'm like, it's fine. It's fine, because, you know, you got to go through the darkness to get to the light. And when you get to the light, take it all in. It's worth it. Let's see. Neighbor guy, don't veer for deer. And then everybody that came out, they were like, you know it's bow season, right? You're not supposed to be hunting them with your Subaru. Meanwhile, my car is totaled. I'm in shock. I'm walking in circles trying to talk, going, because I'm stuck in shock. Yeah, everybody thought they were real funny. Everybody decided to be a comedian. Midnight, Taco Bell sitting there getting cold. Nobody's trying. They didn't even try and resuscitate the deer. Okay, proof systematic racism exists. White supreme pizza officers and tow truck guys showed up. They didn't even try to resuscitate the deer. Deer lives matter. What? Hit the streets. That's whose streets? The deer streets. My goodness. Beijing crisis actors. Thank you. That is what I was talking about. Crisis actors. Absolutely. Adrian, yep, you knew. See, you guys knew what I was talking about. I just didn't know what I was talking about. And that's usually the case. That's what I mean. When I say I wouldn't be able to do this without you, I mean it. I mean it. Let's see. Wow. YouTube is like really delayed. It's weird how delayed it is. Everybody over there is now saying tinnitus. What's up, Sam? Happy freedom. Welcome to the live. Sam, yeah, so the rank situation. Okay, so we have a new thought bot for you hooligans that were a part of Discord. We had a thought bot that would come play games with us and share links and do all kinds of random stuff. Well, now we have ThoughtBot 2.0 on the website. When you log into the chat for the very first time, ThoughtBot 2 will give you status. And now that you have status, you can post links in the chat. So if you want to hyper-reference memes, or if you got some information you want to share or something, you can actually post links in the chat. Now that's only on the website. If you are not on the website, do not post links in the chat. The mods will remove it and you could be penalized. But over on the website, everybody pays to be there. So if you want to post links in the chat, that is your business. You guys all pay to be here. You do what you want. Do what you want. So, Sam, if you click on the bottom, the little arrow thing on the side of the chat, you can pick the color of your text, the color of the background of your chats. You can change your name. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. And eventually we're going to have games with ThoughtBot too. I have to figure it all out though. If you guys aren't a part of jeffmaclive.com, you should really go check it out. Our chat is the best. It is the best out of all the platforms that we live stream on. I swear to God, it is the best. You can even, it has predictive text. So when you go to tag someone that you're talking to, it works. Rumble doesn't even have that yet. We have surpassed Rumble. Our chat is the best. You guys should go check it out. At the very top of the link tree, you can get a free week for jeffmaclive.com. And I ask that you go do that so you can see the badass chat we got. We got all kinds of stuff over there. But the chat alone is worth it. Let's see. Somebody tag me. What's up, Dance Master? Happy freedom. Appreciate you being here. Do you hear how loud my chapstick is? It's because this is the one I flipped. This one's got 100,000 miles on it. This one's it's fresh. There's no rattle. There's no rattle. My goodness. AR-16 chat supremacist. That's next. The FBI will be coming out next. Like if you like, you know, being in a chat on a live stream, then you're potentially a domestic terrorist. They've already said everything else. If you celebrate Hanukkah, you celebrate Christmas, you acknowledge the 911 day where the phrase is never forget, you better forget, because otherwise the FBI puts you on a list. And if you're a MAGA supporter, if you're ultra super dark MAGA, Kamehameha MAGA, then you're on the list. If you like cats, you're on the list. Pretty soon they'll call us out, and then we'll be real famous. I really don't want that, but you know, I think one day that's gonna happen. Anyways, we're gonna be moving forward here. think this is the next one. It's titled House Republicans Jordan and Scalise. I don't know what his name is. Either way, they're battling for Speaker's gavel. I don't even know the other guy, and I like Jim Jordan, so, I mean, need I say more? I think this is what next. I hope we didn't just watch this. Pretty sure we didn't. Come on now, do the thing. All right, hooligans. Let's get her started.
Two House Republicans, Steve Scalise and Jim Jordan, pitched GOP lawmakers on Tuesday on why they should take up the vacant role of House Speaker. Republicans are expected to vote for a nominee by secret ballot on Wednesday, though lawmakers who attended Tuesday's closed-door candidates forum said it seemed neither Scalise, the current House Majority Leader, nor Jordan, chair of the Judiciary Committee, had a clear advantage. Without a leader in place after Kevin McCarthy was ousted in a revolt, the House is unable to act as pressure mounts with a war between Israel and Hamas, and another government shutdown deadline approaches in mid-November. Scalise has the support of veteran and establishment Republicans, including party leaders, and said he would focus on unifying the GOP on Tuesday.
What people have really liked about my approach is that I've been a unifier, I've been somebody who's built coalitions throughout my entire career, and we've delivered big wins, and people want to see us get back on track. We need a Congress that's working. Tomorrow we need to get Congress back to work.
Jordan is a prominent right-wing firebrand. He's supported by Donald Trump and other populists, and he heads one of the three panels at the center of the Biden impeachment inquiry. Far-right Republican Matt Gaetz, who was outspoken in the effort to oust McCarthy, reacted after the competing pitches for House Speaker.
I thought that both of the candidates understood the need to unite the conference, to bring the conference in, into a more effective fighting force, to conduct oversight with greater rigor, and really to put the pressure on Senate Democrats to take up our bills to get the government funded.
Both candidates are said to support a stopgap measure to fund the government through April to avoid a partial government shutdown. But Republicans have another disagreement to work through before Wednesday's vote. While current rules require a simple majority for a nominee to win, the party is weighing up whether to tighten the requirement to gaining 217 out of 221 Republican votes in order to overcome opposition from the Democrats.
So I see you hooligans saying that they already figured it out, that they chose scallop potatoes. I don't know. I haven't heard that. I mean, I've been sitting here waiting for the live, so I haven't absorbed any new news since putting the schedule together. Let's see. Snooks. Jordan didn't get the speaker. Scalise? Is that what it is, Snooks? Well, I'm calling him scallop potatoes because I don't know him and I don't trust him, and I like Jim Jordan, so fuck that guy. No. No, I'm just kidding. But I do like Jim Jordan. I don't know that other guy, and he's got Shih Tzu eyes also, where they're kind of like doing this. So I don't know. That's something. Hopefully he does a good job. That's pretty much all I can say. Hopefully he does a good job. That's what's good for all of us, is if they do a good job. Bobby, lizard scales. Is that what it is? Scallop potatoes. Yeah. Just reading through the chat really quick, and we're going to move on to this last one here in just a moment. American woman, he was shot by a Democrat. Well, maybe he'll do a good job then. I mean, you always got that revenge feeling, that I got to get you back feeling, and it's our our self-control that prevents that from happening. But that fire is always there, so maybe he'll do a good job. I don't know. We'll see. American woman, it was at a ball game. It was a huge thing. Oh, DeRose at a softball game? Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I've never even seen that guy before. Stern. I like Jordan better than just about anyone there. Yeah, I I mean, I don't know. I guess I like people for different reasons. I like Jim Jordan because he seems like he wants to get stuff done, and he tries to get stuff done. He seems serious about it. I like Gates, just because I like that he gets loud and lippy. I've never seen him actually get anything done. But Matt Gaetz, MTG, Lauren Boebert, I like that they get loud and lippy. I like that. I don't know, just kicking the hornet's nest whenever they can. I mean, on a daily basis, it could be obnoxious and annoying, but when things get serious and there's some real lying and corruption going on and they just show up out of nowhere and start squawking all loud and stuff, I love that. I love that. Nobody else is doing it. Nobody else is getting out there and getting loud and obnoxious. Not like they do. Lauren Boebert, she's been kind of under the radar lately, you know, after she got called out for getting groped and doing some groping herself at the, there's a Beetlejuice musical or something? I don't know. That's not where I would go to get my kicks, but, you know, she was all about that. What's up, Warcry? Happy freedom. Let's see, just reading through chat really quick. Did they just decide Speaker of the House and give it to Scallop Potatoes? Liberty Sweetheart, did you at least get to eat your Taco Bell? I didn't that day. I hit the deer at like 11, I think. But by the time I got home, it was almost 3 o'clock. It took forever. It took almost a whole hour for the officer to get there. I'm just standing in complete darkness. But I was in shock, so I didn't know anything. I was good. I was entertaining myself. But it took almost an hour for the officer to get there. And then it took like another hour for the tow truck guy to get there. And then we had to take the car to the shop and drop it off and deal with that. And then he gave me a ride to the house. And I mean, it took hours. By the time I got home, my Taco Bell was cold and hard, and I was not in the mood to eat. I don't know what I was doing. I was brain dead. I had like a 10-second attention span. Probably not even a whole 10 seconds. I was like stress petting Klaus Daniels. I was like, "You're all right, buddy. You're all right." He's like, "Why are you petting me so hard? You chill the hell out." I was losing my marbles. It's not one of those situations where you want to live alone, but I couldn't do anything about it. So I get home, it's like, I don't even know, 3, 4 in the morning, and I'm losing my marbles and I have no one to talk to or be like, "Hey, guess who just got in a car accident?" Like, no, I had to wait till the next day to tell all of you guys. Status quo, Klaus Daniels should let you get out more often. Well, not now that I wrecked my damn car. He'll never let me leave the house again. That's how it goes. That's what I get for being hungry. You know? Wreck my damn car. Dang it. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. Speedy Girl, House Republican nominate was it Republican? I don't know if that's representative or Republican. Steve Scallop Potatoes as speaker in a closed door meeting, paving the way for a floor vote. Weird. Maybe that's why we didn't hear about it. It's because they didn't do a whole 4 hours of screaming and yelling like they did Speaker of the House. There was a lot of people that wanted us to cover when they pulled McCarthy from the chair. Was it vacate the chair? When they did that, the build up to it, all the news was like, "Oh yeah, they're going to be doing about 30 minutes. And they're either going to have McCarthy stay or they're going to have him vacate the chair." That 30-minute hearing took 5 hours to complete. And that's why I don't cover that stuff. Because all they do is they go up there taking turns, seeing who can be more dramatic with their storytelling. And half the time, they don't even come to a real resolution. They'll just table it and stretch it out for 4 or 5 days. It's like, I don't know. I can't do it. It drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. PMT, Right Side Broadcasting is live on it. Oh, actually, that just reminded me. We have the Orange Eagle live today. He is supposed to be on stage at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, I have full intentions of covering it, but if I go buy a car or I go, you know, if it's car related, there's a chance I may not be able to cover it. I have intentions of covering it, but It is very difficult for me to get a car right now. So if somebody says, hey, come look at my car, I'll let you get it for the right price, I'm going to look at the car. Now, it shouldn't be at 8 o'clock at night, but, you know, things take time. You got to go look at the car, decide if you want it, get it home legally, and then, you know, do what goes with all of that. So my intentions are covering it are pure, but there could be a chance. There's a slight chance, like a 30% chance that I may not be here in time to cover it. So make sure you're a part of Gilded or a part of jeffmaclive.com. That way you can receive a notification when I know more about the situation. Go ahead and do that right now. You can find it in the link tree. It says join Gilded. It says apply, so don't worry about the application process. Just scroll through it. I don't care if you lie on it. I don't care if you tell me jokes. Do whatever you want. Half the time I don't read it. I'll just clear you to go in. So do it up. And I don't worry if you have bad intentions, because trolls don't live very long in Gilded. You'd be just hurting yourself. So go there for the right reasons. Otherwise, it'll be your ass. Anyways, we're going to play this last video. It's titled, "The Bar is So Low for Old Man Walter." That's because if it was any higher, he'd be tripping over it. Let's see. Ka-chow. Apparently, maintenance is vacuuming the hallway. That's nice. I should open the door. They can come in here and do the living room. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. All right, hooligans, once again, this is titled, "The Bar is So Low for Old Man Walter."
I get your quick response to what you thought of Joe Biden's speech yesterday, why it took him so long just to unequivocally announce that the U.S. is behind Israel and against this terrorist group that's been there for a long time, Hamas.
On your second criticism, he's done that from the beginning, maybe not at the pace you and Kelly would like or the cadence, but they've made statements from the earliest moment about the support for Israel. And look, Kelly, I think, and others on the right have given him props for his speech yesterday. It wasn't a perfect speech. They want to stay away from Iran now for tactical reasons, but he's going to have to keep up that performance level. But I thought the speech yesterday was pretty raw and powerful and had moral clarity and didn't shade American support for Israel. So I'm for rallying around the commander-in-chief at times like this, regardless of party.
Mark, I am too, but the bar is so low for Joe Biden. The guy was at a barbecue over the weekend. He could have given that exact same speech, and I mean word for word, on Sunday. Nothing has shifted between then and now. He could have given that speech 3 days ago. We've seen the atrocities play out on social media. This is not FDR, where he has to wait days and days. By the way, after Pearl Harbor, FDR addressed Congress 36 hours later. Okay, that was in the 1940s. Joe Biden waits 4 days.
Well, yeah, just the way the media is. I mean,
it's to say that,
yeah.
It's not the first,
that we unequivocally support Israel.
Rob, he said it the first day. You're just rewriting history.
Right, the White House put out a tweet. They also tweeted about junk fees on airlines. Okay, so what we needed was what we saw yesterday, but we needed that Sunday. I think the bar is so low that everyone said, well, he didn't fall asleep in his oatmeal, so rah, Joe Biden, let's rally behind him. I don't think he hit the mark yesterday. Didn't mention our own border. Allison mentioned that he didn't bring up Iran at all. Also didn't talk about bringing American hostages home. 3 big misses. And now we're way out
again.
of time.
You want to walk through the reasons he didn't mention Iran and the hostages. It's a purposeful decision to try to protect American interests and American lives. He's not unaware of the hostage situation. He's not unaware of Iran. He's trying to do a smart thing. You may disagree with it, but again, you say you think the country should rally around the president.
Look, that's fine. I get that. I'm all for rallying around the president. He said, don't you dare anybody else get involved in this war in Israel. And what's Lebanon do last night? All right, Hezbollah bombs an Israeli target. Okay, so this war could stretch beyond the borders of Israel, like before the end of the week. And we're all talking about how great Joe Biden's speech was. I just disagree. I didn't think it was that great. But the bar is so low that we think, okay, he didn't fall asleep in place. Great job, Joe Biden. We could.
Old Man Walter. Worst person to ever sit in the Oval Office. You know they'll never get that smell out. They'll just have to burn it down and build a new Oval Office. That's just, that's the only way around it. We're going to read through the chat really quick. Shanti, why can't you show Trump on YouTube if RSBN does and pretty much everyone else does too? Maybe if you write at the bottom that you don't agree with the views, then you won't get a strike. No, I used to play that game 2 years ago. It doesn't matter. They come get me. They just come get me. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like I will never be able to explain it in a way that people will understand. because there's always people who just don't believe the words that I'm saying. And I don't know if that's poor word selection or if they just got their head so far in the sand they can't hear me. I have shown a YouTube video on YouTube, kind of like I just did, right? And then I received a strike for showing misinformation. But the video that I played did not receive a strike for misinformation. The videos I play come from major networks that have millions of subscribers. They are whitelisted. Right Side Broadcasting is whitelisted. They are allowed to show that because they are contracted with YouTube. That's why they don't get strikes for misinformation, medical misinformation, talking about 911 day, right? I can't talk about that. I can't talk about what happened in September. I will catch a strike. We had a blue box pop up on the video because I had kind of talked about it one day. I had my video taken down on the 4th of July for misinformation when all I did was show a parade. I showed a 4th of July parade. They gave me 2 copyright strikes for music when the only music you could hear was my own. And then they gave me a strike and pulled the whole live down after making it adult only. They said it had dangerous acts and you had to be 18 or older to watch it. Then later that day at 3 o'clock in the morning, because they hit me at 3 in the afternoon or 3 in the morning, they pulled the whole video down and gave me a strike. So I understand that you guys can go out there and see these videos in other places by smaller channels. But once you hit 60,000, you get on that radar and they will start hitting you. And things that I've said and things I've done, they will not let me go. They will not let me go. I've caught so many strikes for that, for showing something else that's already on YouTube. I can't show it, but they can. And I've been demonetized at this point. They demonetize me for posting duplicate content. They're saying that I am taking content and showing it without adding to it or editing it, which is completely untrue. As you see right here, this is not posted anywhere else. The video we showed, you could go watch on your own, but it's not going to have everything else on the screen. It is obvious that I add to these videos and whatnot, right? Not to YouTube. YouTube says I just take other people's stuff and post it, that I don't edit it. It specifically says that I do not contribute to the content, which is not true. It's not true. But they're screwing me real hard. I went and bought my own lube and lipstick so I could look nice while they do it. There's nothing I can do about it, but I'm demonetized now. So I don't pay attention to YouTube. I just leave it there for those hooligans that can't find a way off of the YouTube plantation. That's all it's for. Otherwise, I would not stream on YouTube, and I would speak freely and openly and show everything I find and not just everything that fits the community guidelines. And I would really just run on Rumble and jeffmaclive.com, and that's it. I wouldn't even show it anywhere else because those are the best platforms. But as long as we have hooligans on YouTube, I'm going to still run, YouTube so you guys can be there and enjoy the experience while you're watching the show, and we can all still stay whole. But YouTube is communism. It is straight communism. They are discriminating against me left and right. And I know as soon as I say that, everybody turns their ears off. But it is so plain and clear. It is so clear. And it sucks because people don't believe me because they see other people getting away with it. And that makes me look like I'm dishonest about it. But in reality, I'm just being mistreated. Which is why I tell everybody, leave YouTube. Run while you still can. It's not worth anything over on YouTube. It's trash. And now on jeffmaclive.com, our chat is even better than YouTube's. So I really don't know why anybody hangs out there. But as long as you guys do, I'll keep running it. But I have no grace for YouTube at all. At all. Everybody gets a pat on the back, and me, I get a kick twice in the dick. I'm straight on that. I'm good on it. I don't want it. Let's see. Annette, you're not a corporation with big bucks behind your name. That's why. Yeah, I mean, it is true. You can get whitelisted, and when you get whitelisted, you can see this stuff with big channels. You'll go to a video. They may be talking about something that's a little controversial, but like Forbes might have posted it. You'll get there and it'll say, this video has been removed by the owner. What that means is that YouTube sent them an email and said, hey, you're breaking our community guidelines. You need to pull that video down. So then the owner goes and deletes the video. But if it's me, I don't get an email. I just can't connect to my account and I don't know why. And when I try to access the studio, then they go, hey, by the way, we gave you a strike. You're suspended right now for something you didn't do. And I go, cool. And then you guys think I quit. All my videos will be full of comments like, I haven't seen Jeff Mack in 6 days. I don't think he live streams anymore. And really, I'm live everywhere else. It's only on YouTube. But people who watch on YouTube can't see over the walls. They can't see over the prison walls. So they don't realize we're live and we're doing bigger and better things outside of YouTube. But they're stuck. They're stuck there in the YouTube prison. And they don't know what's going on. So when I get suspended, they think I gave up. They think my determination just ran out and I don't do this anymore. And it's not true. It is not true. The only way I'm going to stop doing this is if something happens to me to the point where I can't speak, I can't be on camera, or I am homeless and not able to live stream. That's the only way this is going to stop me. Otherwise, I didn't spend $1,000 on my website and ungodly, probably 120 hours worth of dedication to the code to figure out how to build the website so we could have our own platform to live stream, just so in 2 weeks I could give it up because I'm tired of it. I'm bored. I ran out of determination. That will never happen. It will never happen. I'm built this way. I'm built for this. And so, fuck YouTube. I'm not worried about the platform. I only care about the hooligans. Anyways. Let's see. Reading through the chat. Breezy, they do that to truth speakers? Yeah. Anybody that's saying anything that they don't agree with gets banned. Which, I mean, everybody kind of does that. But when you have a platform where you're encouraging people to come create all forms of content for the sake of entertaining all viewers, no matter what they're interested in, when you sell it like that, but then I show up and I'm like, hey, I like America, and they're like, fuck you, buddy, and they suspend me, this is very misleading, and I'm being mistreated over there, and, it is what it is. I don't know. I just roll with it. The people who get away with it, God bless them. Doesn't make me feel any kind of way. It sucks when hooligans show up and they think I'm lying about it because they see other people getting away with it. But those people you see getting away with it, wait till they hit 60K. They hit 60K, there's like a wall. You could see with Steve Oatley, same way. You get to like that 60K mark, and then all of a sudden your subscribers does all this weird stuff, and then you start getting suspended over and over again, and then it takes all the wind out of your sails. But I've been demonetized, so at this point I don't play by their rules. I don't even know how we're still up. They were so quick to, suspend me and strike me over every little thing I said or showed while I was monetized, but now that I'm demonetized, they don't even bother me. It's weird how that happened. Let's see. Just reading through. 2 storms. Oh, yeah. The blue and yellow country, they're probably going to be feeling some type of way now that we're sharing our money with some other people. What's up, Mandy Mary? Happy freedom. Yeah, I appreciate you, Jeff Rowe. Anna, you cracked me up. Garlic Press, YouTube is turning into TikTok. That's because YouTube can't compete with TikTok. People are getting banned from YouTube and going to TikTok and posting videos and not having a problem. There is censorship on TikTok, but it's different because the government our government doesn't have a hand in the censorship. Only the CCP does. So whatever the CCP doesn't like, they'll come in and pull down. But our government doesn't have a say, which is why our government wants to ban TikTok. They don't have Twitter files going on in the background. They can't just email the CCP and be like, hey, that Jeff Mack guy, fuck that guy, bring him down. They can't do that. CCP doesn't listen to us. Old Man Walter doesn't have a say. So people are going to TikTok and able to share more truth than you can on YouTube. But our government has tricked everyone to thinking TikTok is terrible. It's just an app for kids to dance. Now there is a considerable amount of ass shaking going on there. And I don't think that the app is appropriate for children because women are all over there pulling their nipples out and showing their hoo-ha and their back door and all kinds of stuff in very sneaky ways that if a man was to do that, he'd be a lifetime sex offender. So for that reason, I wouldn't recommend children watching it, but you can find stuff that you can't find on YouTube over on TikTok, because TikTok has less censorship than YouTube, and now they're the #1 app, and that's who Elon's battling with TikTok, because that's why Elon's trying to bring on videos. He's trying to make a whole video slot on the X platform because he wants to encourage people to live stream and create content on X, and they're going to try and outdo YouTube because they don't have the same kind of censorship. But we'll see how it goes. I monitor all this stuff because I hate censorship, and it happens to me on a fairly regular basis. So I pay a lot of attention to it. Let's see. DeRosa, Cherry Crush 2K. Oh, yeah. You know, Cherry Crush TV, she was the first NPC live streamer for a long time. And then that other girl, I can't even remember her name. I can't think of her name. The other girl came by, and for some reason Twitter grabbed onto that and made her famous. Now she's the iconic NPC live streamer. I couldn't imagine being that way. I thought it was weird seeing live streamers who were like wearing bikinis and sitting in blow up pools in their bedroom and asking for donations, and if you donate enough, they'll write your name across their tits. I was like, that's weird. Like I couldn't imagine doing that. I mean, I don't know. I thought it was kind of weird I was doing this at first, but I couldn't imagine writing your names on my tits every time you donated. I know that probably let you guys down, but you know, it is. It is what it is. Now there's the NPC thing where they just act like fake people, which I don't know why they act. Everybody's all fake anyways. All that political correctness. Let's see. Let's read through chat really quick. That is all the coffee I had for you hooligans today. So I'm just reading through the chat. While I'm doing that, I'm going to post a Linktree link to all of you guys. If you would like to donate to help me out with my car and help us stay afloat and able to keep live streaming, especially now that YouTube has demonetized me, you can find the donation links on the Linktree. You can also find links to the membership programs of your choice. We have all of them on there, I believe. I think you can even access the Rumble one now. I can't remember if it says Rumble or Locals, but it's the same thing. So you can find all of that on the Linktree, but what I ask is that you join Gilded. Gilded is free and is the best way to receive notifications for when and where we go live. Every time we go live, the hooligans are in there chatting around the clock, keeping the conversation going. So if you'd like to go mingle with some hooligans in a chat like you are in right now, you can do that on Gilded. We have lots of different chats, but most people hang out in the general chat. If you're an introvert and you don't really care about mingling with others, we have a news board to keep you up to date with news from all over the world, and it is constantly being updated. Who Through and all of them are constantly contributing to the news board. If you are interested in the war overseas, although I am not, we do have a channel for it on Gilded that Who Through and a bunch of other hooligans are updating. So if you're interested in that, you can learn all about it on that channel specifically. There's all kinds of stuff in Gilded. Go check it out. It is worthwhile. And if you would really like to support, go and join jeffmaclive.com. It is the place to be. We need to get more hooligans over there, but we have so much stuff over there. You have the ability to, like, the best way to put this is what Elon is trying to build, we already have. What Elon is trying to make X into is something we already have. We already have that. We can live stream. We have group chats, group video chats, group audio chats. We can call each other through the website. We can video call each other through the website. We can upload any and all media to ever exist. MP3s, documents, movies, pictures, slideshows, anything and everything can be uploaded to the website or sent through messages. So we're doing more than any other social media platform ever. We just need more hooligans over there. And we have hooligans over there that are great and they show up every day. But it would be awesome to have everybody moved over. It would be awesome to be at a point where we don't need Gilded anymore because we have so many people over on the website. It is safe and secure and free as far as your speech and all of that stuff. I don't want you guys saying terrible things, but there's no one there to tell you not to, really, other than me. You just be making me weep, making my soul weep. But you are totally free over there, unlike all these other platforms with their communist guidelines. All right, hooligans, it looks like we're good to go. Hey, I appreciate you, MT Coiner. All right, hooligans, it's that time once again. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we did the thing. I didn't mute myself. Getting good at that. Getting good at that. All right, reading through the chats really quick, and we're going to wrap this up. No gaming tonight. I got to figure out this car situation. I don't know. We'll do the game when I can get past the car situation. It's too much to end this live, find food, make food, eat food, clean up, go live, run 2 hours, spend an hour being done, setting up the replay, and now it's 8, 9 o'clock and I have to go look for a car. That's not going to work. So until I get this car situation figured out, we're not going to be running the live for the game. But as soon as I do, we will continue with Jeff Mac Gaming. I promise. I love playing the game and hanging out with you hooligans. So we're not going to be doing that tonight, but we will be live again tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time for the very next Coffee with Hooligans. I appreciate all of you guys. I'm going to have to see if some people message me back about my offers I've been making on some cars, and I will update you guys. Make sure you're a part of Gilded. Make sure you're a part of jeffmaclive.com to stay in the loop. Remember, we do have the Orange Eagle 8 p.m. Eastern time. He's supposed to be on stage. I'm going to keep my eye on it. Hopefully we'll be able to cover it. I think we will be able to. Like I said, the only reason we wouldn't be covering it is if I found a hit on a car and could get the problem solved. Otherwise, have expectations to be covering the Orange Eagle 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'll see all of you smiling faces, or at least your smiling usernames, if that's a thing. Either way, let's wrap this up, and I'll see you guys later on. So big shout out to everyone that made donations, joined the membership programs, or purchased any merch. I really appreciate all of you hooligans, and I would not be able to do this without you. So thank you so much for all your support. I'll see you on the next live. Until then, stand tall, shine bright, and that's a wrap.